What's up, filmmakers? I'm Sean Murphy, and today we're going over 3 easy steps to soften up that beautiful video lighting. Today we're going to test out the Zhiyun Molus B500. Now, disclaimer, Zhiyun did send me this piece of kit to test out, but I wanted to see if this actually would make it into my everyday lighting kit. Could it replace my key light, or does it better served as a background light or just a B-roll light? This looks terrible. We actually never want our key light to be bare bulb. We always want to soften up that lighting, but this is just to give you a representation of what the key light looks like, kind of bare bulb, and where we're going to be starting. The number one way to soften up your lighting, and I'm sure you've all seen before, is a softbox. A softbox just makes it easy and quick to kind of get set up and ready to go. But as you can see, my face on this side is pretty well lit, and the roll off into shadow side is pretty pleasing. I would say if we were shooting maybe a little bit wider and I had to back up this light, you're gonna notice some of those shadows start to creep in a little bit more and maybe more dramatic. Again, a softbox just makes the source a little bit bigger and softens up the image. They're great for interviews, whether you're shooting a scene, whether you're shooting B-roll, but you kind of want to have the softbox to as close as you possibly can to the subject. Keeps things soft, it keeps things looking more natural, but the further away you back up that light, the darker these shadows are going to get. The second way to soften up your lighting is with diffusion material. There's various types. If you have the budget, you can go with full grid, half grid, quarter grid, silks, highlight. Right now we are being lit with a 6x6 of full grid, which eats a lot of light level, but makes the skin tones and the fall off very, very soft. There is a broad sort of fall off on my face right now, as you can see. From light to dark is very pleasing and not too dramatic. Not everybody has the budget to go out and buy 6 different types of diffusion material. If you want to get creative and see what diffusion materials actually do and test it out, I recommend go to Joann Fabrics, get a couple sheets of bleached and unbleached muslin, see what those do. Grab a white shower curtain or even a white bed sheet and see if you like the look of that. So the one con or thing to note about using such a large source of diffusion material, you are getting a very nice soft source on your subject, but you are gonna have to deal with some ambient spill. As you can see, the background probably has been lifted in level by a few stops. So that is something you're gonna need to take into account. Do you have enough to kind of flag off a certain side, or if you wanna darken the background, do you have those materials with you to take care of that extra light leak or extra spill? It's not as easy as setting up the softbox, pointing it in one direction, and you're good to go, or putting that grid on the softbox and, you know, having a more directional light. This is going to give you something that's nice, large, and soft, but you're also going to have to deal with ambient spill. The third way to soften up your lighting is by bouncing it. For this setup, I just took my key light, set up my 5-in-1 reflector. Overall, it's gonna get the job done when you just need more light, or just a way to soften up your key light when you don't have a softbox, when you don't have diffusion material. You just need to get a good interview or a good image. But this actually works great in a pinch. Maybe you're traveling on location and you can't bring a whole bunch of gear. You just bring a 5-in-1 reflector or any sort of bounce material. So you're gonna take your light and bounce it into whatever material that you decide, whether it be a 5-in-1 reflector, maybe it's a piece of foam core. I will say, if you want to have any sort of bounce material, whether it be to fill in shadow side, 5-in-1 reflectors are amazing. They're a great piece of kit to own. Also foam core, if you go to your local Home Depot, get like a piece of that foam core insulation. You can just cut it to whatever size that you need, gaff tape the sides, and you've got a great bounce as well. Mostly when I'm using the bounce method, I'm using it as a way to lift the ambient level in a room. I'll take a light and shine it into a corner, or I'll shine it into the ceiling. Hopefully it's a white ceiling, and that way it'll lift the ambient tone in the image while still looking natural and less lit. I'm gonna throw the softbox back on the Zhiyun 500B and come back with my initial thoughts and review of working with this light. So my initial thoughts with this light are actually, I'm very surprised. I was a little bit worried because I know they have the 3 fans, and I have seen some reviews saying that you might not be able to use it as a key light because of fan noise. I hadn't run into any of that today. I mean, I would say the light was probably at max, maybe 10%. The fans never kicked on. But again, I've only used this in this scenario. I am going to be putting it through some more rigorous testing, bringing it out with me on set. I'm actually going to the Philippines again here in the next coming months, and I hadn't been able to bring a big light or a 500 watt light, let alone with me last time. So I'm actually going to bring this with me and test it out there. But I am interested to see where this light fits in my kit. As for build quality and some things that I didn't necessarily love, it is great that the light has everything all in one at the top. You just plug in the cord and plug the rest into the outlet. That to me is great because I can see it being very useful on travel jobs when I can't bring a 600 watt key light. The only couple cons I will say is I wish this light came with a case. It just comes with a box and some foam. I know we're already getting quite a lot of output, and we don't have to have a ballast. We don't have anything else like that. So there are going to be some minor quirks with the light coming on down the road. It just depends on what you're willing to sacrifice price-wise for convenience. So I am interested in seeing how this continues to perform, and we will let you know as soon as possible. There you have it. 3 easy ways to soften and diffuse your light. Get out there, put in the work, put in the practice. It'll only make you a better filmmaker. Sweet.